Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Arsenal Truex Galaxy podcast. Um, I'm here to talk about Arsenal and their win against Burnley. So looking forward to it today. I guess I'm going solo again, which is okay. Um, so yesterday's result was pretty good considering it was a weaker side and kind of um, blew them out 5-0 with Odegaard scoring the first goal, and it was pretty cool. It's so the first goal was pretty dynamite. It looks like Havertz to Rice, um, and Martinelli passed it Odegaard, which led to the first goal. To me, it was pretty decent. The match, you see, hey Tom, hey Russ, how's it going, guys? Thanks for being on. I mean, for me, it seems like Havertz really showed his quality today. Yesterday's match, sorry, and you know, I I don't know if he was my player of the match, but he to me showed a lot of qualities that he's slowly getting into more involved in the goal involvement, rather it be passing or getting that second assist. He's starting off to be a really good player. Seems like he just needed some patience as he's getting more involved into the better play and going on to do. I think we kind of need more consistency from him, and it kind of was a risky signing at first because he didn't do that well his last season at Chelsea. A lot of people were questioning why, uh, but I think it was to replace Grant Xhaka. ABX, welcome to the show. For me, it's you know, I never really talk bad about Kai Havertz because we've been playing so well. With that said, I think there's a lot of qualities he brings. He's very tall and very influential in his physicality. As far as him bringing in Martinelli and Odegaard and Saka and all those guys. So he's been causing problems with his height. He's not as fast as we all liked him for him to be, but it is what it is. I think Martinelli coming from the right, sorry from the left, kind of shows his quality as far as pace. I think that ball to Odegaard was pretty spectacular. Given the fact that Odegaard has an eye for a goal coming from the number 10 position, number 8 rather. Though we all think he's number 10. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was really good team goal. I guess our plays, our goals have come from the back, starting from the back, and as them doing well. Having played from the back before, it never worked out because of Brent Leno and others, but I think we have something going with our back. Then to Rice was a good ball to Martinelli, which caused the goal there and the first goal. So we are very impressed by the movement again. Typical, Wenger ball esque goal to lead up to the first goal. The second goal was caused by a penalty to Odegaard, to Havertz again. The ball seems to go through Havertz more so than it was in the past. I think we started seeing that during the Liverpool game, then West Ham, now this time around. So really impressed about how Havertz is starting to get into the play of things. I think everyone can agree that this was probably his best game as an Arsenal player, and you'll find out why later on in the game. But his second goal was a penalty. Again, it was inside the box that Havertz to Trezard to me has been really, really good the past really 5 games. If you look at the game against Nottingham Forest, and again against Liverpool, West Ham, this game, he's really, really grown into his own. I know people wanted a striker. They wanted Ivan Toney or Solanke from Bournemouth, which I wanted as well. But it's all about teamwork and consistency, and we're seeing that now with Trossard, how valuable he's been. And I think we all remember people in the chat box that you know uh, we wanted someone who could score the goals every so often. And the rise of Trossard, whether it be the number 8 position or left 8 or playing up front, I think you're finally seeing what Trossard can do on a game in game out basis. That have he's able to fit in the system of what Arteta wants, and he can play anywhere. He can play on the wing. He can play as a striker. He can play as number 8. Um, yeah, BX. I think that I think it takes time for a player like Trossard to get into the game, but you see movement, and I think whenever you see players trying to score goals like Havertz and Trossard are trying to do, I think slowly but surely you're going to see more shots going in net. And I think to me that kind of hurt there when he took his first fall in the first couple minutes there. But he didn't give up. He played through the injury, I guess it was, or what they call a knock, and he played through it. And eventually he'll get his goal in the second half. And the penalty was scored by Saka. Like me and Ray discussed last week on the podcast, that that he's able to take these penalties no problem. Yeah, he's gonna miss here and there, but I think with a player with this confidence, he's able to rise above it and get the goal in. Russ asks, which one would I pick, Tony, Solanke, or Watkins? Oh man, and what's interesting about that question, Russ, is that they're all English players. So as you guys know, I'm a big supporter of the Three Lions when it comes to World Cup games. World Cup. I have heritage in English side, so I always have a big heart for the English Three Lions national team. Arsenal have finally have some representation after all those years of being down. Saka, Ramsdale, Ben White's been on some teams, and now Declan Rice. So if I were to have to pick Russ, I think it would be Ivan Toney, but I wouldn't mind Solanke either and Watkins. They all bring something special to their game. Solanke has height, which we lack very much up front for a long time now. Toney has versatility, and Watkins has a cool haircut. So I would not mind. I would not mind seeing either or, honestly with you. But if I had to pick, it'd be Solanke. He's a cool guy. I think he has height, like I said, and he plays for a Bournemouth team that aren't. They all play for weaker sides except for Watkins. That's a tough question, Russ. I wouldn't mind. Ah, gosh, I would. I wouldn't mind Slanky, but I would also wouldn't mind Tony. It's a tough one, man. How did you know Wolves would be the skirmish today? Like I said, Ray, uh, I think Wolves are not a bad team. I think they've just been unlucky sometimes. I think for some reason they're always up to play the bigger squads. For some reason they have it in them. I don't know if Tottenham's a big squad or not, but I don't know, man. Wolves always show up, which is kind of interesting. They're not a bad team at all. I think they're a good club. They're just a middle table team. Yeah, they're crap. Yeah. but I just had in my heart that Wolves are always one of those teams that should be up there with the Arsenals and the cities and if you're on par with teams like Villa, like Brighton, they're like the second best tier team to have in the league. I think there's talent there. I just don't think they're very inconsistent. Uh, but Russ, like I said, I don't know why. I don't know what happened in the World Cup. I think it's a shame that soccer doesn't value players outside of Manchester City and Liverpool. I think guys like Kyle Walker have had their time. I think either Southgate picks players that are always hurt or are just his favorites, and I think Van White deserves better as far as the England squad is concerned. I think they would be better off. I think with him being on the England the Lions team, which is unfortunate because I think Van White has a future there, whether it be center back or right back. Um, it's a shame, really. Right. So again, their goal, Havertz to Odegaard to Saka for Saka's goal, or a second goal. Like I said, I think this is Havertz's best game as an Arsenal player. I think we've all been wanting this out of Havertz because the price was just too much at the time for Havertz, and I don't think he was warranted the price tag. Um, So yeah, I think Odegaard also has class. I think last year he had more goals than assists. Now you're seeing him being a complete player now, which we all knew it was in his locker to have those assists. So good for Odegaard. He's really coming to his own. I know. At the beginning of the year he's been struggling. I think because the system that we play, Arsenal play, um, I think now you're seeing him get more assists, which that's what number 10 type player does. And I see Odegaard's number 10. It's just that the formation that Arteta puts out there is having two eights and number 6 behind him. But like I said, I think the movement right now is pretty special to watch. So yeah, I mean, Saka shows his quality again, scoring from the right this time from the right foot, which he never hardly does. But when he does, it kind of shows that he's been using both feet this year to score goals, which to me is pretty special. So yeah, I think Saka's trying still getting his foot, his. You can see his talent on a weekly basis. I know there's an argument out there who's better, Foden or Bukayo Saka, I believe. Or no, it's Saka and Jared Bowen. But you can see clearly that how Saka's progressing as a star player in this league and a superstar, and we're very lucky to have him. Um, for the first goal, it looks like a great run by Kvyat, who's left back, playing that position because Zinchenko is probably hurt right now. But the past run games, Kvyat has been playing really well, and just seeing him progress is pretty cool to see. And I hope that Zinchenko stays injured. I know that's bad for me to say, but that's how much I can't stand him. And we have been keeping clean sheets since he's been out as well. So very, very pleased about QVR and what he's able to do and making runs into the box. I think that's just important as well. Right. So then he passes it through the middle. It was intended for Saka and Havertz, but Trossard scores a great goal from his left foot. So yeah, like I said before, you're seeing Trossard scoring more often, and maybe he's a striker we need. I know we needed him last year to get those assists, but now you're seeing him score more goals. It's funny seeing how Odegaard was our leading goal scorer, if I'm correct, and now you're seeing him Odegaard getting more assists. Then you're seeing Trossard getting less assists but scoring more goals. I think you're seeing Arteta trusting Trossard more as being the number 9 than you are seeing Jesus and Arcadia take that spot. Um, you know, we all know, Gabriel Jesus has had trouble staying healthy. And Gabriel Jesus, though a talented player, is very inconsistent, and I think that's why City sold him for the price they did because they knew he was not going to take them to the next level, or at least keep them um, as title champions, I guess. Because you're seeing what Holland can do at City, and you're seeing what Jesus can do for us, and clearly that's an upgrade by far. So yeah, I mean, I think Arteta finally sees how his players operate and how they work. So as a fan, you're seeing this more often where he trusts Trezor more often as being a number 8 or being number 9. And as an Arsenal fan, seeing Trezor scoring is pretty good because you as our worry was that we didn't get a striker in the transfer market this January. So, but seeing Trezor scoring goals and other players scoring goals like Havertz, uh, the worries are less now because you're seeing uh, not only them scoring, but also seeing Odegaard scoring as well because he hasn't scored as much goals as last year. And you're seeing Martinelli scoring against also. So that being said, I'm okay with that. Right. So the fifth goal scored by QVR throwing with the QVR with the throw in and perfect setup and skill by Havertz and he scores. I never seen uh, Havertz scoring that goal is was quite phenomenal because it does good for his confidence, of course, moving forward. But this is the skill that we all Arsenal fans wanted to see, because he can do that. It's just a matter of can he do it every 2 games or every 3 games. We're not asking him to score every game, but to be productive as he was very, very delightful for our Arsenal fans because you're seeing more skill out of him and being more involved or engaged in the opportunities we have. And he's been involved with what 3 goals today. 4 if you add his goals. So, this is his best game, like I said, and it's very encouraging as an Arsenal fan, him doing so. So, how do you guys feel about the game in the chat box? Oh, Ray. Ray asked Alonso, how close do you see this title race being this season? I think it's pretty close. Given the fact that City drew yesterday, Liverpool won against a weaker side. I think it's pretty closer than most people think it would be. I think teams have figured out City. I think that they depend a lot on Holland and Foden, and I think teams are starting to see that. And though they'll surprise us next week and score 5 goals, um, they're more susceptible to losses and draws because of that. I think teams have gotten smarter and picked up on how they play and how we play and Liverpool play. This is why I think it'd be a close title race because you know all 3 teams are talented. Arsenal is very talented, City are talented, and Liverpool. Um, and they play each other again. We play City, Liverpool, and City play again. So I see teams, even Arsenal dropping points at some point because it's not going to be easy. but it is a three-team race. I think this is a three-horse race rather, and all three teams are going to lose points, and that's just how it is. Um, but I think it's good for the league to have for. I think it's good for the league to have three teams in it, because in the past you've seen City run away with it or Liverpool and just City, and I think it's good for Arsenal to be involved with that as well because we've defensively have gotten better each year, and to have a clean sheet um, in those two games against West Ham and Burnley away is pretty job well done. And Raya as well. He's coming to his own as a goalkeeper for Arsenal, like it or not. I think there's a lot of Ramsdale fans. I'm a Ramsdale fan. Um, so, so yeah, I think it'd be important to see how Ramsdale do against Brentford, since he hasn't played much this year. Ray says, in other news, the celebration police will be checking in on one Jurgen Norbert Top and Master Gary O'Neill at Wolves. Your thoughts on this, Alonzo? As most of you guys know by now, I work at a grocery store, and uh, there's a sushi guy who I'm friends with, and he supports Liverpool. Well, he gave me the gist of it, how he always asks me, he goes, Lonnie, why are you always celebrating a victory over Liverpool? And I say to him, well, well, Ben, imagine if, Liverpool have been winning against Arsenal for years, right? Recently. And he doesn't understand how big of a win that is for us Arsenal fans or supporters. And he gets it, but then he doesn't. And so I give him all this crap about that. I was like, you never walk alone. I give him a hard time about it. And he likes to banter and all that, and it's so funny. And the other day we had a disagreement about why I was giving him a hard time about it. And I think, you know, um, I think the media, guys like, the the Gary Nevilles and Jim Carragher's and Rio Ferdinand, they hate Arsenal winning because they're better, because we beat them all the time in the 90s and early thousands, 2000s. So they can't stand an upstart like Arsenal winning all the time. And there's nothing more that upsets them when we beat their beloved United and Liverpool. They can't stand it. Well, whenever we beat City in the summertime or in the fall, then they get even more upset, even though that's our rivals, right? So I don't get why those teams can celebrate but we can't. And as a football as an Arsenal supporter, it gets kind of the narrative gets kind of old and worn out that we're just young naive team that we can't celebrate at all because there's an unwritten rule that you can't do so. It's yeah, yeah, but yes, I agree. So Ray asks Alonso, are we seeing Manchester United acting like a big club? The guy from Newcastle is coming to meet Manchester. Wait, is this something that I don't know about? Ray, can you explain? Yeah, I think yes, the rumors, I mean the influencers, when I first started, watching podcasts and all that, I started watching AFTV and I noticed how bad they were at representing Arsenal because it seemed like they were doing everything wrong, negatively. That kind of, oh, right, okay. So, I think after a couple months, I just stopped listening to them and started listening to a Broken Wonderland because they're at least more positive at that time. Um, so, when you mean by influencers, yeah, I think this is why Arsenal have a better reputation. Arsenal has a bad reputation amongst their supporters because of AFTV. That's my theory on it. I think the narratives are that, well, we always complain about the score line or we always complain about certain players and we don't think about what's going good at Arsenal. And I think that's why you see fans always poking fun at us because we almost won the league last year. If it wasn't for a couple major injuries, who knows what happened? But at the end of the day, we're a bunch with a lot of history, and whenever you see in the past seeing Chelsea and City win the league without no history, um, or little of it, then it kind of gets frustrating. Um, because we did it the right way in the past, and say what you want about United, but Alex Ferguson was a good manager, and so the big six. Think about teams like City and Chelsea and Tottenham being involved. Well, the big three really are Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool because they did they did it the right way. It seems like right. So that's my take on that. I think you know yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, unfortunately, they preach negativity, and this is too much sometimes. Whenever Arsenal are going in the right direction, it seems like some supporters can't get over the fact that Arteta's we've had some bumps in the road, so to speak. But I think with this new generation, you're seeing managers get fired within 6 months, sometimes because they're not getting quick results. And we've seen that with Chelsea a lot, a lot, and so they don't now they have no connection to Chelsea because of that. Um, because they expect perfection, and because they got used to the winning ways. Back in the mid 2000s, whenever Abramovich bought the team, and he had Mourinho as a manager. So they're used to winning, and they feel entitled, and they made some bad moves, bad transfers, but it is what it is. And with City, uh, just they bought their trophies. It seems like. Just like you see in American sports, that you're seeing an influx of money going around, and they buy their trophies, so to speak, like the Yankees do, and the Dodgers and baseball, and the Red Sox even. So even my Phillies, they've been known to overspend a lot. So I think you're seeing more and more of the American influences. Even when you see American sports being influenced across the pond with these transfers, even American owners like that. like the guy who owns Chelsea, who owns the Dodgers, they overspend, and I think that you're seeing that more in English football, and with the new funds that Liverpool, like not Liverpool, but Newcastle have now with the Saudi Arabia money and the city money, they spend and spend and spend. And my best bet is that City get in trouble and have that 115 counts against them. Probably. Um, so there's a really controversial. So and all in all, I hope City get in trouble. But yeah, I mean, so the next Arsenal game is next Saturday at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, my time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. So what do you guys think about Newcastle game coming up? It's going to be a tough game. They're bullies. They're big everywhere. It seems like. So in the past, Newcastle had been one of those teams that they bully us, and the referees don't seem to call the right games, the right matches. It seems like they bullied us at Newcastle's place in the fall, and that's funny, Tom. The only galaxy bigger universe is this podcast. Um, but yeah, so they got very unlucky. Arsenal did. It kind of shows that VAR isn't very good. I think that it kind of was a disaster at the Arsenal game. Clearly, the ball was offsides. There's a little foul there on against Raya. So yeah, I mean, it was a disaster of a VAR review. To me, they didn't call it the way it should have been. Granted, we probably didn't deserve to win that game in the first place. So it is what it is. It's a learning experience. Hopefully, we'll come back better at our place this time at the Emirates. So looking forward to that game. So this is the sports podcast, as you guys know. Maybe we talk about Arsenal and NASCAR. Unfortunately, NASCAR race got rained out. The Daytona 500 will not take place today, unfortunately, due to weather in Florida. It's not helping out. So it rained yesterday as well. The Xfinity race got postponed till tomorrow at 10 o'clock, I think, my time, 11 Eastern. And tomorrow is going to resume with the NASCAR race starting at 3 o'clock. But typical, I'm working, so it looks like I'm going to take some extra breaks tomorrow. Well, not extra, but just time my breaks so I can watch a little bit of the race. Hopefully it's not busy tomorrow. So I'll be watching that from work. Some of it, not all of it, because I'll get in trouble. My best bet is that there's 15 cautions and it rains out until at least 8 o'clock tomorrow, so I go home and watch it. I don't have the DVR, so unless I watch it on YouTube the next day, which I'm working until Saturday, so we'll see how that goes. So, what else is to talk about? Tonight is the NBA All-Star game. I did not watch the slam dunk contest last night or the 3-point shootout because again I was at work. But today rather, is the NBA All-Star game, which I might watch. It depends on if I'm interested or if True Detective is important. Anyway, so it's not like it was in the 80s and 90s, even 2000s. Um, I am just getting. Yeah, because I've had what I had to it's just not the same as if we were whenever we were growing up or as if we were kids. The nostalgia of it just doesn't do it for me anymore, which is kind of sad because every year I look forward to watching the slam dunk contest and the 3 point contest. Um, just they just run out. They eventually run out of tricks to do, and it seems like that dunk last night was done before. Um, yeah, so they're not going to remove it obviously because they feel that it's taken away from yeah everyone. Yeah, so it just doesn't. It just yeah, exactly. BX, it's funny you say that because that's how I feel too. I think half of LeBron James' points have come over him traveling. I think the league and Adam Silver have catered a lot to him, and I think LeBron James and his friends, his super friends, have ruined it. I think whenever I tell you what, BX, whenever I lost interest in the league was whenever LeBron James made that announcement and looked like an idiot on national TV. And it was also in Akron, Ohio. I mean, who does that, right? That at that point, I knew that the league was no longer the league I used to watch back in the day, and it's sad, but it's true. Unfortunately, the whole co-captain and captain stuff was just sucked. It just wasn't for me anymore. Because he knew who was going to be the co-captains every year. It was going to be Durant or LeBron, Giannis or LeBron, Steph Curry or LeBron. And these teams don't pick correctly. They pick their friends. And, to me, when you pick your European players, they're like, well, who are you? But they're very good, like Jokic, like Luka Doncic, you know, and other players as well. So, in a way, it's kind of unfair to me that, this league nowadays is like more about making friends. In the 80s, they fought, and that's kind of a shame that how yeah exactly. You know that finals in 2011 was kind of showed LeBron's immaturity with him Dwayne Wade made fun of Dirk Nowitzki for being sick, and I hated that. That was kind of wrong. That was kind of weird at that time in the NBA. I think that you know I think it was childish at that time. I think Dirk Nowitzki was pretty bad. He was a pretty awesome player. Um, I think he had a motivation whenever the Cavs lost in 2006. Exactly. Yeah, he was a great player, man. I remember he got a lot of respect in the league from his peers. Like Kobe Bryant really admired him. I think he is very underrated for his time. Uh, for a guy to shoot like he shot for his size is pretty unique to see. And he also scored 30,000 points. Is this a is this a club team in the Premier League, Tom, or just England in general? guess who had personal. I'm gonna say hmm, was it that team that came first above Wrexham? Who was it? Notts County? Was it Notts County, Tom? Tom, I have a question. I'll give a clue. Who would who would I know this? How would I know this? I just assumed that I'm trying to think of the club that that beat Leicester or beat Wrexham and got promoted to League Two. It is Leeds. Tom, where are they at the table, Tom? Are they first or they second? Right. So that's pretty impressive, Tom. I hope, Tom, if they get promoted up to the league next year, I hope they just stay up. Because it's just good to have them in the league. I know that they rub people the wrong way sometimes, but it's just good to have them in the league. I don't know where they stand in the championship, but it'd be a good. I think we got kind of like a Brighton where they stayed up for a long time now. Crystal Palace, of course, they always seem to just sneak in at the edge of their feet sometimes. So to me, I just hope these just stay up and not be like Norwich, which go in and go out, come in and come in, and go out. I think he's Dutch, BX. So you know, so in the chat box, how do you guys feel about next Saturday's game against Newcastle? Do you think that we can continue our runner games? Because I still, no matter how bad they've been this year, I hope that they always played us tough. I remember against Newcastle, I think it was 2012. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was a 4-4 draw because they came back and they made a game of it. So they've always played us really tough, no matter how bad they've been. We beat them pretty bad, I guess, a couple of times in the past. But those games have always been our biggest bugaboo, seems like. So what are your guys' thoughts on the game? Yeah, we had Porto Tuesday, but I just hope that whatever happens in around 16, that we could be successful. Um, you know, I'm being realistic here with Arsenal being in the Champions League. The best I think we could do is semifinals. Um, because those teams have been in Champions League for a long time now. They're always used to being there. So realistically, I think we get to the semifinals. Um, I think Porto. I don't know much about how they're doing this year in the Portuguese league, but we've played them in the past in the Champions League. So my best bet is that we can handle them at their place, I believe it is, and then come back on the Wednesday and see you, Tom. Thanks for coming on, man. See ya. But yeah, looking forward to how they play, and if they are up for it, then I hope Arsenal are as well. With that said, my best bet in the Champions League this year is to be semifinalists, and because like I said, Real Madrid are always going to be a powerhouse in that competition. And to see City have won it, I think Inter Milan are going to be in there as well. So I think it's going to be a tough task, but I think realistically we could get to the semifinals. Um, I know before we talked about how thin the rotation is. Um, so you know, what are you guys' expectations in the park in the chat? Yeah, Russ, in the past, in Europe, we really haven't taken teams too lightly. We haven't really pounded them like we should have. It brings me back to when we played Olympiacos in Europa League and Valencia and all these teams that we on paper should have beaten like Sevilla. We just completely didn't know what to do. Arteta looked like he got lost. Um, so that's my biggest fear, Russ, is that we don't take these teams seriously enough, and Arteta doesn't use either the lineup well enough, or someone gets hurt, like you said, like injuries can play a big part in how we finish this year, this season. So he's got to learn to use his bench, or even use his bench to start some games in the league and play the best in the Champions League. So he's got to work with that. So we haven't seen much of Vieira. Is he still hurt? Does anyone know what the progress is? Or I know he got hurt in training, but he seems like he's been kind of lost this year as far as being on the bench and being in the lineup. We all saw what he could do as far as being in the game, involved in the game. So, what do you guys think about that? Will we ever see Vieira again? I forgot his first name already. Bad. Uh, that's how much I've missed seeing him on the pitch. Um, so, you guys' thoughts on Vieira? I have yet to see him lately. Um, like I said, I think when we got him, it was a really good buy. Really good. We saw some talents in that player, but we haven't seen much of him this year. But whenever he's been used properly, he's been pretty good. So okay, yeah, it's a shame, Russ, because I don't know how you feel about him, but I thought myself that he'd be a buy for the future. At least that's for sure. Another player that I want to see more of is in Rowe. I think he's one of our best talented players on the team. It's just that the guy can't stay healthy. It seems like he did make a cameo yesterday. Um, I hope that Arteta just doesn't give up on these always injured players. Now Partey is a different story. It seems like since he's been in Arsenal, he really hasn't, for the exception of last year, he really has a hard time being healthy. Um, I remember when Arsenal first got him. It seems like he was on his way. He was that missing player that we needed for years. But unfortunately, he hasn't been that player for us that we needed on a regular basis. Um, but thankfully, we got Rice. And I think the reason why we got Rice is because of that reason that Partey couldn't get healthy. And I agree, Russ. I think he can be that player that we need when someone needs rest. And this is why Odegaard's like Saka playing so much is because lack of depth in that position. Though Emil Hill can play in that position, it seems like we lack quality on the bench because the players are always getting hurt, and that's why they're getting little playing time. Like Reece Nelson, I think Reece Nelson he can be that player for us. It seems like Arteta doesn't trust him because he's always getting hurt, and I think our best scenarios is that these players that I mentioned, stay healthy enough to where they can start games, and they're just fragile players. And there's a theory behind it that maybe the training pitch is just not properly um, taken care of. But who knows? Who knows what's going on in training to where these players are always getting hurt, and maybe it's tackle, maybe the practices are too rough. Who knows? But like you said, Ross, I agree. VR needs to bulk up. I remember, Bill Wilcott was the same way, and he didn't start bulking up until maybe later on in his Arsenal career. Um, yeah, it's a shame, Russ. I really like Emil Rowe. Unfortunately, he hasn't panned out because of these injuries. I think I think it was a good signing that we signed Jorginho. Though at the time, like I said, it wasn't popular. It seemed to work. It seemed to have worked out so far. When he's on a pitch, when he starts, he's magnificent. I think people are so upset because that mistake against Tottenham, but mistakes happen, and he owned up to it. And no, I think for his age, he's seen a lot of football, and he's won. And I think we're seeing the reason why we got Jorginho, maybe because Partey was getting hurt so much, and you can't depend on Partey no more. Um, though I'll never forget the impact he made on that play with the goal against Manchester City when we beat them. So when he's on the pitch, he's very, very, very good. But he's always hurt, and you can't depend on a player like that. It seemed like he was cursed when he got here. When he signed at Arsenal, it took a long time to get healthy. When he got healthy, he was hurt again. And for where we're going as a club, for where Arsenal are going, excuse me, we don't need more injury-prone players. We need healthy players that can put in the shift. Um, and then I think he surprisingly wants to stay Arsenal to get his badges in. Like I said before, I would not be surprised, Russ, if he coaches Arsenal, maybe in the youth system, and later in his career becomes a bench coach for Arsenal. I would not be surprised. So I don't. I think after this year, I think on Elneny will call it quits. or at least get one more playing, or at least get one more season out of him. I think he'll stay. Jorginho, I think he knows his place on Arsenal. I think he'll stay because I don't know, Russ. I think Arsenal value both players. Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, I think Anini will retire as well, Russ, because he had a knee injury this year, and I think his knees are no longer there for him. I think his knees are gone. To be honest, which is a real shame because I think the fans love him. I think he's very good for the club. I think he's leader off the pitch. So yeah, like you said, I think he may retire. I think he's got a good future. I think he likes London. I think he loves Arsenal. He's spoken very highly of Arsenal in the past. Probably still does. So he's a good guy to have around in the locker room, and I think he's going to like what Arsenal represents off the pitch as well. So I wouldn't mind him staying because of that reason. If he does retire, I wouldn't mind him seeing. Yeah, right. I think he's a folk hero right here at Arsenal. He's a cult vision, I think. With that said, I think Jorginho also brings something to Arsenal as well. He likes it here, but like you say, he might want to leave and go back to Italy. You never know. But yeah, I look forward to how the season plays out. We have a easy stretch of games, but like you said, Russ, don't I wouldn't take them lightly. Um, so yeah, hopefully we can get yeah. So looking forward to it. But anything you guys want to talk about before I jet off my day? Yeah, like I said, unfortunately, I wanted to talk about NASCAR more today, but unfortunately, got rained out. Um, of course, this podcast, I think that's my favorite NASCAR driver as well. Unfortunately, he's going to start tomorrow, 27th, which is not ideal for him. So I'm hoping tomorrow's race will be a good race, at least for those watching from home. Like I said, I'm working tomorrow, so hopefully he'll finish better than 27th. I'm hoping at least the top five, top 10. He's more capable of finishing very high in the top five, so hoping for the best. Also, if you like crashes, this is your race to watch. Hopefully, we could talk about it more next Sunday, as I'm off next Sunday as well. And I think next Sunday is the Atlanta race, or at least Las Vegas. Let me check here real quick in a second time. And sorry. I am going to Arsenal Fan Circle to talk about wrestling. I'm joking. I'm going to be on. So next race is at Atlanta next Sunday. So I'll probably talk about more about NASCAR because this is what this term is about. It's about sports. Um, as we get closer to WrestleMania, we'll be talking probably more about WrestleMania and hockey, of course. If my Flyers are doing pretty well, and baseball once that comes around. But right now, my main focus to talk about is NASCAR and Arsenal. So yeah, Russ will probably be on here in about an hour and a half. But this is my first time doing this solo. I did it last week as well, but thanks for the chat box for just keeping me busy, asking me questions. I hope that in the future I can get more planning on, have more guests if you guys are open to that. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, things happen where I really wanted to talk about the race today, but unfortunately, that didn't work out because of Florida rain. It rained there 3 years ago, and I had to wait for a long time for the race to come on. It didn't come back on until 9 o'clock, I believe 10 o'clock at night, but it happens. Um, yeah, so looking forward to see you guys next Sunday. I'm hoping to do hopefully I won't have time to do a midweek podcast, unfortunately, because of work. But next weekend, I'll probably talk about the Arsenal game. I'll see how they did. And all right, cool, Russ. Thanks for being on the chat box. And um, unfortunately, Thursday nights with the Full Nelson podcast, I won't be on because of work. But hopefully someday soon I'll ask for it off so I could be on with you guys. But I do miss it. Um, please follow two of my friends at Ultra Fan Circle on Ray's podcast. That starts at 1:30, maybe 1:40, depends on how fast you come on. My friends at the Four Nelson podcast. That's FOOL Nelson podcast. Also join my friend Gary at D at DWTT podcast. All of them on YouTube. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a good Sunday and good week as we go on moving forward. Look forward to be on next Sunday with you guys again. So yeah, anyways, take care, have a nice week, and see you guys soon. Uh, Goodbye now. Take care.